And welcome back for another GACC podcast, where we're going to end up discussing games, anime, collectibles, computers, but not necessarily all that.
And not in that order.
And not in that order, yes. So I'm your host, Harrison. To my left.
Hi, I'm Faust.
Hi, I'm James.
And we're going to be talking about the tech news and nerd news of this last week that we felt was important. So, who wants to start?
Well, I've got a puff piece.
You have a puff piece?
Yeah, I think we're going to be taking a lot of serious topics here. So I've got a puff piece, and it's really just a chance to rib Microsoft because they posted something on the Xbox news site.
Oh?
Yep. They are quite glad that their Microsoft Solitaire collection has reached 100 million unique users.
Solitaire?
Yeah. Solitaire. In the Microsoft Store. Because they did away with the original Microsoft.
They did away with the pre-installed Microsoft Solitaire.
Yeah, true.
So the stats that they have posted is in its 26-year run, so they're even including when they started including it in the operating system to begin with.
Oh, boo.
It still remains one of the most played games of all time on any Windows OS. That's because whenever you release one, you leave Solitaire on there and you take away stuff like Reverse E, Minesweeper, Chips Challenge, and that pinball game.
No one played that pinball game.
Everybody played that pinball game.
Okay, well, I didn't play that pinball game.
But the thing was,
Minesweeper, yes,
they changed all of that, and even then, before that, somehow After Dark wasn't a thing, and that had a couple of really fun games on it.
Yeah,
and then
there was the Microsoft Entertainment Pack 1 and 2 back in the day.
But then with Windows 8, they took away the pre-installed games entirely, unless you wanted something like a dumbed down version of Candy Crush, and made the Solitaire collection something you could download for free off of their store. And pay, and then they put advertisements in it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
that was Windows 8, right?
Yeah, and that was the only way you could get Solitaire on Windows 8 and Windows 10. And on top of that, it's not just the Klondike software Solitaire anymore, the one with the card layout, and then you just sort of play Solitaire.
You can change your
there's like Pyramid and Tri-Peaks and Spider and other things like that.
Well, they had those as separate games in XP. They had them as all separate games. So I mean,
my grandma still plays Spider Solitaire rather religiously.
Yeah.
So the next thing that they said is, on average, 55 million Microsoft Solitaire collection games are played per day. That's equivalent to 20 billion games per year, or 2.29 million each hour. That's difficult to say. Or about 40,000 each minute, which is okay. I mean, it's nice to know that you're collecting stats on every game ever played. And especially Solitaire.
Over 25 years. Think about that. They're saying over 25 years. So that means that...
Well, they're probably extrapolating based upon the information they've been gathering since they started gathering information. That's to say that they've been gathering information for some amount of time, which is creepy. But on top of that, there is some guy or some group or some desk somewhere that is in charge of collating the numbers for Solitaire on Microsoft campus.
If anything is probably pre-programmed to do that. And you know what? I bet you if you send in an error report, that's where they're getting their Solitaire stats. It's like, oh, by the way, how much have you played Solitaire since your system crashed last?
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. And
who sends in error reports, though?
The last thing they point out here is you can earn some serious Xbox Live gamer cred by playing
Solitaire.
Since Microsoft Solitaire Collection added support for Xbox Live when it released on Windows 10 and 8, the game has awarded more than 1.3 billion gamer score to players to date. So you can get some easy achievements on Microsoft Solitaire. If your gamer score actually matters, if a number is what gives you fulfillment in life, you can go and get some cheap numbers from Microsoft Solitaire Collection. It's like win a game or something.
Lose a game. Yeah.
Win 3 games in a row.
Turn the game on.
Yeah, turn the game on. Breathe normally. That was the thing. The other thing they wanted to announce is that they are going to be releasing the Microsoft Solitaire Collection on both iOS and Android.
What?
Yes.
Yay!
So this
there wasn't already Solitaire games for both platforms.
So this is Microsoft getting more out into other platforms because, last week they said, look, we broke PowerShell, but Linux people can use it now along with Mac. So are they... I guess is a step in trying to be multi-platform friendly and not closing stuff off and saying this is mine and walking away with their toys from the sandbox.
Yeah. So the other thing that this is coming out along with, the announcement they're making, is with the Windows 10 version, and I'm assuming the mobile versions that they're talking about, they're going to install this. They're going to add this new thing called events. Events this fall, where you can win awards and play against your friends in the community at large in competition solitaire games.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Solitaire competitions have been a thing. They've actually been like whole office things and things like that. But it's sort of been a kind of an underground thing. And the Solitaire collection has actually had some sort of stats thing, a leaderboard.
How do you play as a competition? This is Solitaire. The name itself says you play it by yourself when the lights are out. Jesus.
There actually has been a point structure on Solitaire from the very beginning.
You play it by yourself.
You play for points. You could play it for points, or you could play it Vegas style for money.
Fastest and see who has the prettiest deck.
There was one point when I was
making up shit.
There was one point when I was stuck at overnight jobs where I would play Solitaire and try to beat my previous score.
That's fine. People are supposed to do that, but you're doing that by yourself.
No, but then I was comparing the score with my brother, and we actually would go back and forth and be like, "Hey, I got this far. I got this far." So. It's. I can understand them wanting to do that. I can understand them wanting to do that to drive a player base and to expand it further. The thing is, this is the only place that I was able to find this news. News.xbox.com was the only place I was capable of finding this news, which means Microsoft has been patting themselves on the back for a game that they have basically haven't even monopolized for the last 26 years.
Well, speaking of games that they have monopolized for a while. They are bringing Halo 5 back to the PC. So the Halo series is coming back to the PC.
I think I've heard this.
But it's not in your standard form. So last time we had Halo on PC was Halo 1, Halo 2.
No, just Halo 1.
I thought Halo
1.
I thought
Halo 2. I don't think Halo 2 got a PC. I'll fact check that. Hold on.
Let's fact check that. But so it's been a while since we've really had Halo on the PC, and then they tried over in Russia for a Halo 3 Reach version for Russian free-to-play.
Halo 2 was on PC.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, then fine. You corrected me, good sir.
Well, good.
I only played Halo 1 on PC.
Well, I'm glad you learned something today. So going forward, more education for our audience. Halo 5 Forge is coming out for the PC, and what this is really doing is it's opening up the Forge tools on the PC. So people that you can make your Forge maps on your PC, where it's a little bit easier potentially with like a mouse and a keyboard than using a gamepad. Then from there, you're still gonna be able to share them out with other Halo 5 players and everything. But what I thought was unique is you can play with up to 16 players on these Forge maps on the PC. So it's
Isn't that more than the limitation on consoles?
It's about the same as the limitation on consoles, because I think most of the maps for Halo's typically been 8 versus 8 since I think Halo Reach days. So you've been at least 16, maybe up more. I don't follow it that much on the console.
You guys are the Halo players here. I haven't played it since 2. Really, I haven't played it seriously anyway.
The only reason I've ever even really gone in and ventured to play it is either A, to play the single player campaign, or B, to troll my kid, But
I enjoy playing it. I think it was an 8x8 if I last remembered. Because that last one I played was I haven't played Halo 5 yet, so.
Well, so it's good to see 5 coming back to PC after Halo and Halo 2. I did play Halo on the PC. I didn't know Halo 2 got a PC release, but since then, the only things that we've seen Halo-wise on PC were Spartan Assault, Halo Wars 2, and Halo Wars, and then Spartan Strike. And technically Marathon, if you're going to really acknowledge that as a Halo game.
Well, yeah.
But
that was more of Marathon was more of a Mac game than was a PC game. That was like their big claim to fame. All the Mac people go, look at us, we have a cool first-person shooter. We're so much better than you PC people. Yeah. And then they got gobbled up. But
have fun with your Doom Engine game, guys.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is September 8th, you're going to be able to go download Halo 5 Forge. And then you can go have fun building Forge maps and playing with your buddies.
So just to clarify, is this also including the Halo 5 storyline campaign?
No, it's just
the
Forge. Yes. This is like Halo Lite, basically. It allows you to...
It's Halo Fantasy Football.
not even that.
Yeah.
It's basically Halo Map Creator, and then you can play online on the PC with up to 16 people.
Would you guys play this?
Yes.
I give it a shot.
You give it a shot?
Because Halo has some really good. One of the things that became very much known with Forge was people making pig and horse maps, where basically people would make something crazy, and you had to do it, and if you didn't, then you got a letter. So they're playing pig and horse by making challenges in these type of maps, and so
like parkour stuff and jumping puzzles and things.
Right.
Well, I think this is not convincing me. So if anything, you guys could probably go and get it, and we'll do an odd man out about it. But I mean, this is great to see that it's getting some PC things now. Not bringing the PC. Like I was kind of sad to hear that the Master Chief Collection, of all things, wasn't getting a PC release. I can understand because it's not exactly portable code any longer. It's been kind of really console based for a long time.
Yeah, it's been that way.
But it's still kind of saddened me because Combat Evolved and Halo 2 apparently had a PC release, and I thought if anything that was what solidified it as one of the most popular shooters of all time was the fact that it had a multi-platform representation and it drew in players from both sides.
There you're incorrect. It was
Master Chief himself made the game.
Yeah,
because he wasn't the standard first-person shooter guy where it's like, ugh, and you know who he is. He's, Bob,
he wasn't a bullet sponging.
Yeah,
he wasn't a bullet sponging, super trained Marine who decided to, just go out and completely genocide a whole race.
It was the thing.
Slash sarcasm.
The thing that made it big was it was a really good split screen console type game. It had good play, and everybody could just pick up a console and play. It made for the masses. It made.
We should probably fix that.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know how long it's been like.
Well, it's also the fact that the story was actually pretty good, too.
I will admit, at least for the first 2 games, the story had me.
Yeah.
One and a half.
Because granted, the second
Halo
game...
2 lost me, kind of.
Halo 2, the multiplayer was super lame. I'm sorry.
And I've been told that the story actually picks up a little bit better from 4 or possibly Reach. That Reach is its own standalone kind of story that's really good.
Halo 3 was also pretty good.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I kind of dropped it with 2, and then everyone goes, "Oh, you should hear Halo." My brain just goes click, and all I hear is wah 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 wah.
Well, see, that's on you then.
Yeah,
I know. It is.
I'm fully willing to accept that. It's just the thing is now you say Halo's coming out with something. I'm like, that's great. People are going to be happy about that. Not me, but people are going to be happy about that.
Says the man that likes the new Doom that plays like Halo.
Ooh. You don't want to get me started. We have a show to do, sir.
Well,
we soapboxing.
I'll tell you what. Maybe we can go into that.
We'll get into an argument there.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
And maybe you guys can do the odd man out with me on Doom because.
Well, he hasn't. Really... Did you played Doom enough to say it looks like Halo 4?
Correct.
And then kind of put it down. And I have to say, if we do an odd man out on it, it's going to be don't play the new Doom.
It's either going to be that or it's going to be a PSBS.
Yeah.
All right.
It really is.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So. Yeah, I just have to say that there are a lot of games out there. I have a lot of games to play, and I don't really want to get drawn into a franchise regardless of how good the story is, because I can play lots of good stories. Witcher 3 has a really awesome story. In fact, it's a whole bunch of really awesome small stories bundled into one. So I'm all about that. I'm all about seeing good story out there, but I'm also all about playing the games that I actually paid money for and not buying new games.
I'm on board with you, because that's with me in the Legion. Yeah. Everyone's like, come back. I'm like, no.
It's going back to the story. No,
it's going back. No, I don't want to.
It's still an MMO.
Because I have Hyperdimension, I have Witcher 3, I have A, B, C, D, E, F, any game that I paid for.
One of the things I commonly say, 300 games to play. Sorry, it needs to really draw me in for me to pick that up. And I do go and I buy like the humble bundles or try to play the classics that I remember back in the day. But that's just revisiting nostalgia and stuff like that. I still go back to the games that I want to play, that I paid money to play.
Exactly.
And when somebody says, "Hey, you should spend retail or more on this game because it's really awesome," I'm like, "That's great. I've kind of already done that with games." It's kind of difficult for me to get excited about something.
It is, especially if you've been in the gaming area for a while. I mean, it's.
So I understand your thing with the Halo.
And with recent events, it's really hard to really fall into the hype train with something. Because the last time the hype train has played off for me was Fallout New Vegas.
Not even Fallout 4?
Not even Fallout 4. It was a great game. It was fun to play. Don't get me wrong. And I bought into the hype train and everything like that. But in the end, it was basically Skyrim Wasteland Edition. It didn't really have any reasons.
You didn't have the shout.
it didn't really have any reason to stay on the main storyline. It didn't, and that's what Skyrim failing was, is that you could fall off the main storyline and not really go back to it. In fact, of all the hours that I put into Skyrim, I officially beat the game, beat the final boss twice for all of the hours that I played it. And the same goes for Fallout 4. I've only beaten the game, seen the end condition once. I've played it to death, to the point that I don't really care about playing it anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, is I can always go back and play New Vegas, because there are so many different ways to end that game.
And that's true too. I mean, technically, Fallout 4, there was there's about 4 or 5 different endings once you get to a certain point, and it's
a very obvious branching point.
Yeah, it's a very obvious branching point, and then it just and it's with.
Do you not want obvious?
Institute.
No, I would rather have a game completely throw me for a loop. Okay. I would like to think that.
So you want M. Night Shyamalan to write your name?
No, I want it done right.
Oh.
Man, this guy's salty today.
I want a game to kind of just not make it an obvious decision. I mean, yes, make it a decision, but hide it in a whole network of decisions. And then when the game kind of goes a different way, and I'm like, I didn't expect that. It goes, you made this decision back then, and then make it obvious. Well, give me a good twist. But I don't need to have this big branch where it's like, pick your ending, push this button if you want this ending, push this button if you want this ending. I mean, and The Witcher 3 is kind of doing that too.
Kind of, yeah.
I think it's one of those things that's happening. But, Fallout 4 is one of the prettiest games, and it's one of the...
Oh, it's pretty, yes.
Very pretty. And
especially with the mods that you can get for it. And that's the thing is with Bethesda RPGs. Get them on PC, or with the Xbox One version on Fallout 4, you can do mods.
Well, we have one of the most crazy mods actually coming out here.
Yeah?
The NVIDIA specifically has made an entire storyline mod for Fallout 4 to show off their new... GeForce 1080, 1070, specifically the 1080 series graphics cards.
So this is specifically made around these graphic cards?
Yes, to show off all the new effects that their graphics cards are going to be able to do. And it's called Vault 1080. Of course, because
1080.
The mod is supposed to be showcasing, but it's supposed to be, it's developed in-house by the people that are doing all the ports of the old games over to Android and the NVIDIA Shield and everything like that. Mm-hmm. The mod is supposed to be about an hour's worth of gameplay, supposed to deal with darkness and and fog and shadows and everything like that, really. And it's finding a vault in an old church. The mod uses NVIDIA's Horizon-based ambient occlusion plus technology to deliver volumetric lighting such as God rays and shadows that are more realistic than the standard Fallout 4. Other graphics upgrades include weapon debris and new materials. So it's supposed to be a visual eye candy to showcase the 1080. So basically, if you have a 1080 and if you have Fallout 4, you should probably pick up this mod, which came out yesterday, September 2nd, for the PC version of Fallout. So
nice.
I have a 970, so I think it'd just make it cry.
Well, you could give it a try. It should all have the same things. I mean,
I'd have to buy the PC version of Fallout 4. Oh, not going to happen.
Yeah, and I don't think. Well, 970 is not going to see it, but it's for more like the 1070, 1080 people, and you can still play it. You're just not going to get all the enhancements. But the players are supposed to head through a marsh to a church that obscures the entrance to the vault and its dark tunnels. So it sounds like they're kind of making it a little horror based.
Yeah.
And we'll see if it's a good mission. I'm very curious to find out. I might fire mine up and look at the mission and what they're doing to actually plug it, or if it's just going to be based on the graphics. Because how many times have we seen in-game advertising or, joint advertising ventures for games go wrong?
A lot of times.
Yeah. So, maybe they've kind of learned. I mean, it seems like this is something they're just putting out there.
It's like anytime that they come out with a game that looks promising and it's about a movie, we kind of go, maybe they'll get it right. And the same works vice versa. With movies coming out based on a video game, we kind of get excited and go, maybe they'll do it right this time. History has proven us wrong time and time again. So,
that's true.
I'm excited to see NVIDIA do something to kind of show it off, but a tech demo with an already established game is probably the best way to do it, but don't view it as any more than a tech demo, because that's what it is. I don't think it's going to provide any kind of compelling, life-changing experience. It's just going to be a game that looks pretty.
Well, the last time we saw a tech demo was probably Half-Life 2 Lost Coast, and that was to show off HDR.
Yeah.
And that was
It was impressive.
It was very impressive.
So yeah, and the cat's up on the counter again.
I keep saying it. Anytime we leave an animal in this room, it's going to come in and do something for the recording. It was the dogs barking, and now
the cat.
The cat just absolutely loves attention.
Well, Cthulhu, we'll get
playtime.
Yeah, we'll give Cthulhu some attention today.
Yeah.
So
speaking of the 1080s,
what
do you got?
That laptop that you discussed last time briefly.
Which laptop?
It's Acer. Acer released a new laptop. It's a 21-inch monitor.
Last time was the Asus. You're talking about the Ace, you're talking about the Acer.
Yeah, so Acer has, I think it's Acer or Asus. I have it on there. But they released a 21-inch monitor, laptop, not monitor, 21-inch laptop with a curved monitor. So it's like I was talking about with you at one point about the HP curved monitor.
So it's the Acer Predator 21X.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Acer. So that one has a curved monitor, and I'm questioning at what point. And this is just personal. At what point does it no longer become a laptop? Because that thing is huge. It has two 1080 video cards in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has two 1080 cards, and it's a 21-inch monitor. It's like ultra widescreen. It's not even necessarily 4K, but it's like 2160 by 1080, and 2 power supplies, 17 pounds.
Yes, 17 pounds of laptop.
Yep.
That breaks the bank and then some for me, as far as like
portable, right?
Yeah,
because portable should be more like 10 pounds maybe.
It's like the Lenovo ThinkPad that I've used, and it's this is a robust machine that probably maxes my level for like portability weight.
Wait a minute. So we're considering 10 pounds portable nowadays?
I don't know.
Is that the cutoff nowadays? Because
I thought the cutoff was because I've seen stuff that's like 7 pounds. 8 pounds.
There's notebooks, there's workstations, portable workstations, and there's like there's ultralights, and I know they have certain grades and everything, but come on, guys, the laptops were like 25 pounds, 30 pounds, in the 90s, or even in the.
It's true. One of my first laptops wasn't a very robust machine at all. It wasn't a very capable machine. It could play DVDs and stuff like that. It had Windows ME on it.
Yeah.
And it was still like a 6-pound laptop.
You had ME?
To tell you the truth, I'm one of the few people I know of who actually used ME and had zero problems. Like literally.
Or you're smoking some good stuff.
No, actually my bout with drugs after that kind of.
No, I think. Yeah. But either way.
Yeah. Either way.
This laptop, I would consider doing this Fallout 4 thing if I had this laptop.
2 1080s?
Yep.
So the thing about it is, aside from the specs I think the thing that's really damning about it, the thing that's really damning about it is that they are basically marketing it as a curved screen laptop.
Oh, it's nice.
I don't really think so. This is a fad.
No, well, okay.
Curved displays in general are a fad.
Oh, the display part, yes.
Putting a curved display on a laptop is a novelty. It's going to be something that people pick up and they go, "Oh, this is the one with the curved display." It's like the ROG that
the one I just got.
That we have 2 of that you just got, and
I just got my
we already
ROG,
had one of. And the thing about it is the novelty about it is the same thing as putting backlit keyboards or little readouts or something on that. It's like having media buttons. Like those became part of the integrated the keyboard. It used to be having something on the top of the keyboard was an important part.
That's true.
It's just a novelty.
But
it's not going to be something that's going to stick around.
I would say this laptop has popularities because before this laptop, before the 1082 dual video cards, Alienware had 2 dual video cards in their laptops, and it weighed the same.
That was years ago.
That was years ago. It was 4 years ago. It was the 18-inch.
17-inch.
18-inch. It was an 18-inch. It was an 18-inch flat screen with 2 680s, and that was 4 years ago.
Okay, no, there's a new one.
There's a new one.
Yeah, there's a different one. There's one that my friend has at his shop that's an Alienware. It has 900 series.
Okay, but
it has like a 960 or whatever.
Most likely with a 17-inch display. They went away from larger 17 than that.
Yeah, because they don't. Okay, so my point is, the reason why this one would be so popular is because, as we discussed last time on video cards, how the laptop video cards are now on par with desktop video cards.
Yes.
So this now has 2 1080 video cards in it, so it will be compatible with desktop video cards.
Right. So I want to talk about a few things with this because, I mean, especially because I remember episode or two back when we were going off about game cases, and Faust was like, why don't you have windows or things to see the inside? Well, the Asus Predator 21X actually has a window to see the fans and the light up and everything like that.
The windows and being able to see inside of cases were the argument to support the argument that was brought up by my saying back in the 90s. The thing was clear plastic.
Yes.
And being able to see, not necessarily moving parts, but being able to see the circuitry involved and everything like that. Like everybody had that clear plastic phone that in their room.
The
or
clear
like
plastic controller.
Yeah, or the clear plastic controller and stuff like that. And I do have one kind of like that, which is like a rock candy Xbox controller, which I said last time. And the argument was that people are making windows into their cases and putting like fancy lighting displays and stuff like that. And there are other kind of more artsy things like making wall-mounted computers or desk integrated computers. And, I was like, okay, yeah, I've been kind of proven wrong by that. But, what I was thinking more was like a laptop with a clear case to it.
Well, I don't think we're going to see that. But there is at least there's a window into this, which is interesting. So here's the thing. I mean, this is just a magical amount of absurdness in this thing. So it's 17 pounds. It requires 2 power supplies to run for both video cards. I assume that you're going to get one video card off of one power supply, because this is not the only one that's been talked about where it needs to be like the Asus has the
is
the
it Asus, the one where you have to have it docked to
get the second video card. It's going to have 5 system fans, 8 heat pipes, hold up to 64 gigabytes of memory, 5 storage drives you can have in it, has eye tracking so you can just look to aim. You're going to have, it has 4 speakers and 2 subwoofers in this thing.
And it'll make you toast.
Once again, 17 pounds. Have you ever heard of feature creep?
Well, this is just like, they're just trying to push, like, how much can we get into something that's considered portable? We're not saying it's, or I would say more luggable at this point, because, come on, this is...
Yeah, that's the kind of laptop you get if you don't skip leg day.
This is a 17-pound laptop from back in the day, and that's a 286.
So here are the specs for the one that you brought up, the competitor here, the Alienware M18XR2. It is also 17 pounds.
I thought it was 12.
Nope. Says here 17 pounds item weight. It is a 17-inch laptop. That might be where you got the thing. Intel i7 with a 7200 RPM hard drive. Space for 3 hard drives, SSD. 1080 display. Screen size 18 inches. Okay, I might have messed that up. i7 8GB DDR3 memory. 750 GB mechanical hard drive. 2 GB DDR5 NVIDIA 675M. So it's a mobile GPU.
Yep.
See, chipset NVIDIA, dedicated card, 802.11, blah, 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 blah. 4 3.0 USB ports, one 2.0 USB port. And they're saying 8 hours of battery life.
8 hours battery life, my ass.
Yeah.
Maybe 4. 1
battery included.
Yeah.
It says it comes with Windows 8. I don't see where this thing was actually made or posted or something like that.
It was made, but we're talking that was like 4 years ago, because you're looking, those are either second or third generation i7s.
Considering that these are discontinued by manufacturer and only available used.
Yeah. So back over here to this Acer, it is coming out first quarter of 2017 is the projected time it's going to come out. We do have a 21-inch curved display. It is going to have a 6th or 7th generation i7 processor. Okay, so this thing is going to beat out a lot of computers on the market. But the price tag, the projected price tag,
it's $5,000.
$5,000. And this is being shown off at the
That's a used car.
Okay. In the 90s, the price point for your average laptop was about $4,000.
Yes.
In fact, that was when that Windows ME machine that I was talking about, I paid about $4,000 for it.
But for comparison purposes, a fully loaded Alienware
8 to 10.
even 4 years ago was typically $4,000 to $5,000.
These are computers you finance And that is an actual thing.
Yeah, when they give you an Alienware credit card, you remember when they had that Alienware credit cards just so you can buy the laptop?
And I'd almost want to say that it was Apple that started the whole thing, because there was a point where Apple computers became so expensive, the only way to get one, even if you felt like you had the money to afford it, was to finance it. Like they basically assumed in their store that you were going to be financing. They didn't think you were going to be paying for it outright.
Right. I mean, and we're seeing right now, good job, Acer, for trying to stand out from the crowd. You're making something that's magical because you're cramming so much absurd stuff into something that's considered a laptop.
I don't know about that though.
But the laptop itself sounds like it's heavier than your standard case computer.
No, it's not.
It sounds like it.
17 pounds is not heavier than your standard case computer. You are crazy, good sir. You don't lift your computer enough, apparently.
No, I do not. The only time I lift it is every 3 months or so when I take it to dust it out and everything.
Yeah. Maybe you should go home and lift it today.
I don't really weigh all of my electronics.
Do you lift?
No.
Do you lift, bro?
No.
Okay.
I don't lift, and I skip leg day.
Okay.
But I also have a common courtesy to not bother saying I can do it whenever something manly comes up, and then completely making an ass out of myself. And I don't wear skinny jeans. If you've ever propped up a hard-boiled egg on 2 toothpicks.
Okay, back on track here. So yeah, this laptop here. Okay.
Wow. So yeah, this laptop's coming out beginning of next year. So sometime around.
I think I'm gonna save
March,
up and buy it.
You're gonna spend $5,000 on a laptop.
Yeah.
Unboxing, or it never happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be my Christmas gift, birthday gift, and next Christmas gift, and next year's birthday to myself.
Yourself. Yeah. It's like, I got this instead of financing a new car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting to see. Holy cow.
Yeah. So in other news, I do want to see this guy specifically talk about this puff piece that he posted about. So the announcement is that all the Rogue One Lego Star Wars stuff is coming out this month. Right in time for holiday season, like the very, very front end of holiday season.
Which happens every year. I mean, there's new Transformers and everything. But yes, the movie's supposed to be coming out in December too. Mm-hmm. That's why they're gearing up and they're putting out these at this time. And, we're talking about Legos, so... My gosh, you're going to make me scroll back here.
Legos is awesome.
I've got it right here. Do you want it?
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at the actual piece itself. Because, I looked at this and yay, more Star Wars. So it looks like store shelves on September 30th. Lego's going to start pushing out their entire line of Star Wars Rogue One Lego sets.
So it says here 3 buildable figures and 5 new sets.
Yeah, one of the I think for the old-timey Star Wars people, because even though Rogue One's kind of supposed to happen more in the older universe where they were trying to get the plans before for the first Death Star.
Is this the line several Bothans died to bring us this information?
Yeah, lots of Bothans died, or many lives or whatnot. So basically, this is supposed to be happening before Star Wars: A New Hope. Okay. They have a set that is an AT-ST Walker. So
that looks pretty.
Yeah, we have a new AT-ST Walker, and it's going to come with 3 little figurines with it. An Imperial Assault Hover Tank. So this is a new vehicle we haven't really seen before. That's going to be coming out with. It has 2 minifigurine cockpit and a rotating elevating turret, and spring-loaded guns. Man, who would have thought that Legos had gotten to the point of spring-loaded guns?
That's what we wanted when we were kids.
I think they've had spring-loaded guns before.
Yeah, have they had them for a while?
I don't think
so.
No.
I remember spring-loaded guns on my Transformers.
Yeah, Transformers and collectible other toys of other movies where it shoots out the thing, but I don't ever remember that in Legos.
I think it's something that's happened within the last few years or so. Let's say 5.
Probably after the 90s, maybe?
Definitely after the 90s. They have a TIE Striker coming out, and this is basically, they're making a new version of the TIE Fighter, and so you have 3 or 4 figures with it too. And then they have Kenrick's Imperial Shuttle. Looks like one of the other big ones. And they made another new ship.
Yeah.
Damn it, Disney.
It's
They made a U-wing. Basically, this is the paraplegic version of an X-wing. I mean, that's the only way I can describe it without a picture.
Like you got to look it up, guys.
Yeah.
That's an adequate description.
Let me see this here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, for Rogue One, there's a new ship called the U-wing, and it has 4 engines.
It looks like something I would build in Space Engineers.
Without
having never played it.
It looks like you take an X-wing, and you had the wings knocked off of it pretty much, and have 4 engines there, but then they put 2 fins next to the cockpit.
Let's call it what it is. It is trying to be the logical connection between Pod Racer and X-Wing.
So it's advanced.
Because the one thing that was kind of a disconnect between the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy was the technology looked...
This almost looks like the Jedi Starfighters without the ring.
Oh, you know what?
And
they got Jar Jar Binks to make that. That's why it looks like that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, to be back in the time when we could have a discussion about Star Wars and Jar Jar Binks wouldn't come up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even remember who got can't remember who was the one that got bashed on Star Wars. Just back in the day, the argument was always, did Han or Greedo shoot first? Now it's, we've turned Jar Jar into the the horse that gets beat all the time.
Was that an original thing back when the first trilogy dropped? The Han or Greedo shoot first? I thought that was the thing that Cinemaphiles came up with as a way of kind of promoting popularity of the original series and sort of pushing the prequel series
I think when they started to do a couple of tweaks, like even the special editions and whatnot, it was there because they intentionally revised it in the Star Wars special editions, which came out before Star Wars Episode 1. Mm-hmm. And there was already that argument going on who shot first in the 90s in the early days of the internet. So that argument has been around for quite some time.
This is going to become a thing is do the new ships look fitting with the old technology, the old ships, considering what we've seen.
Right.
Now, that said, there was some new technology in Episode 7. There was some new technology, and there was some new ships and stuff like that. And then there were they did bring back the older ships, and I think they had a good kind of mix of, things looked like they all belonged.
But that works because Episode 7 is actually set farther into the future. So basically they said, here's the new ships, this is more advanced and everything like that. It's just every time they try to basically retard the technology, while trying to stick within the universe, they don't do a very good job, it seems like, at times.
So it could be that the Empire kind of threw galactic industry into sort of a dark age, and that these fancy ships that you see in the prequel series just all of a sudden became irrelevant or impossible to create because the Empire itself set the standard for what kind of ship technology would be successful, and we just lost those to the history. Which
is kind of true, but now Disney says they have a whole new line, and everything that was talked about that is considered legacy in the extended universe. Well, that
no longer exists.
No longer exists. But
see what happens when you render entire parts of canon non-canon.
But even in the extended universe, everything pretty much takes place from Star Wars: A New Hope on into the future. They didn't really go back because it's really hard to go back. They had the prequels and they went back they went to 1,000 years. Yeah, 1,000 years. Congratulations. You did the original Sith Wars 1,000 years pre A New Hope in the books. And why are you smiling at me?
Because I got you into the Star Wars loop.
Oh, yeah, man, you're on your own on that one, dude. I don't mind Star Wars, but I grew up as a Trekkie. Sorry.
That deserves a like, folks.
Yeah.
He's just like rant.
I could go on for a long time about.
This is why I love Star Wars fans. Being on the fence about these kind of things. Star Wars, Star Trek, old, new. It's really easy to just kind of what about this, and what about this, and what about, and just get them just rolling.
Yeah, he was just
absolute rolling.
I could go on long Star Wars for quite a bit.
Did you say he was rolling in the deep?
Because I did that last time.
Kidding.
I did that in the last PSBS with you and Anime, as I just sat there and just got you rolling and rolling and rolling.
We need to find something to get him rolling.
Doom is like Halo 4. That gets me rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's kind of like that, isn't it?
Well, we'll get into that some other time.
Right.
So one of the other things I wanted to talk about technology-wise as I had the opportunity this week to play around a little and get hands-on with a HP ZVR display. This is supposed to be a 3D display. It's 24 inches, and it's made by HP. It's 1080p display.
Curved.
No, it's not curved. It is not curved.
Well,
You're looking at the wrong one.
It's one of the Z lines.
It is a Z line, but
ZVR.
So give me a second here.
Yeah,
and I'll get to
you
it.
pull up your thing. I'll pull up.
Yeah, I got my thing basically here.
Which is weird
Now
because
you sidetracked me.
real-time virtual holographic 3D images.
Yeah, so this display, it actually came out about a year ago, but you don't hear anything about it really because of the fact that it's really designed for business in the commercial space.
So this would be something like
Pixar.
Design or CAD or
CAD.
involving 3D rendering.
Yeah. So what's interesting about this display is HP is basically licensing the Z-Space software to make this happen. This display is 24 inches and can go between 2D and 3D. You have a set of VR glasses that you put on, and it has about 6 light sensors on it. And then you have a pen that's attached to the display, and the display has 4 sets of IR sensors. If any of this sounds a little familiar, it's because we're talking about IR sensors and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking, this is like HTC Vive and everything too. But they're calling it 3D, and it kind of is, but it's also a little bit augmented reality.
So how does this? Yeah, I was going to say, how does this relate to like HoloLens?
Yeah, I was going to think in that too. The Microsoft HoloLens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a unique space. Let's say you have a 3D model of something. Okay, and you have the glasses on and you have your pen. So you can actually, the IR sensors allow you to pick within that space, so you can move around within that space if you need to and draw actually within an actual 3D space, kind of like augmented reality, But the glasses, what the white points are on them are for is to allow the IR cameras and everything like that to detect where those are. So if you move your head to the left or the right, just like you would in real time, look at an object, you actually are looking around
So it
the
tracks
object.
your viewpoint.
It tracks your viewpoint.
So the way I'm viewing this in my head is the ZVR display is basically a display that, as you switch it to 3D and use this light tracking, this head tracking feature, it gives you sort of an actual view through a window into this 3D space. So it's taking something like what Vive or Oculus would put right in front, right on your head, and just giving you a more
bigger picture.
Well, a distanced viewpoint instead of a direct viewpoint.
Correct.
Basically.
There is a distance viewpoint. And basically everything I saw from playing with it, because, the display, I would say, was about an arm's length away from me when I was using it. And every time I got to about the halfway point, like I could hold, I could move stuff around within that 3D space. But if I try to bring it up to the halfway point, where basically I was about half an arm's length, then it would start to blur. The other thing I saw with it is it works, but if you have polarized lenses, it starts to feel a little odd,
So the real question would be, from a consumer standpoint, is how long, with your use of it, did it take before you started to feel that cool factor or that novelty factor start to wear away, and thinking that this would be some sort of like workspace instead of a game space?
Well, this is really weird because this entire thing is not even marketed towards consumer. This has all been marketed towards
a professional
or education. Even the Z-Space software that's used, because HP's been hands off. Basically, this is all the Z-Space software that's designed with this. They just kind of put the hardware and the software. The interface is basically third-party Z-Space, and it's a layer that goes on top of a lot of like CAD programs, like Autodesk or
MathCAD.
No,
well, not MathCAD.
No.
What's the other one?
If you give me a second here. So it goes on top of Autodesk, Maya, and
Lightwave.
ZBrush.
Do people even use Lightwave anymore?
Well, Autodesk and Mylar are the major ones. Lightwave is still out there, kind of, and then there's new stuff called like ZBrush and that thing that Microsoft released to be kind of like a sculpty kind of thing. ZBrush and that are kind of sculpty
Microsoft
things.
uses with their
there are still CAD programs in SketchUp, but yeah, Maya and Autodesk are like the major front runners right now.
Right. So it's definitely a interesting display. It's an interesting concept.
How much is this display?
That's where I was getting to here really quick. So while I talk about that, because apparently I misplaced the price, remember this is a 1920 by 1080 display. Mm-hmm. It can switch between 2D and 3D mode.
Okay.
That's really interesting too, and you can tilt it basically about 45 degrees back. I believe this is a $4,000 display. Yeah, HP has it listed as $4,000. Wow. It is it's not an IPS display. It's the older TN display.
It looks like something you'd find on a spaceship.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool looking.
Yeah, it does look really cool.
It looks really cool.
But the glasses you have to wear look kind of ridiculous, though.
Hey, those look like my glasses.
You know what? The
glasses look kind of ridiculous.
The glasses.
I'm just kidding.
The glasses are actually not that ridiculous because
right into that one.
Because it's they're passive 3D glasses, so it's like almost the same type of style of glasses almost that you would wear to wear in the theaters. It's not like you're putting on
like the
VR
3D
headset.
glasses. Those things are uncomfortable, though.
Right. So this is somebody you could work with this with regular glasses. They're very lightweight. You're working with a pen. It's a space, I think, for a lot of people that would have an easier time getting into VR. Now, granted, it still takes a bit to get your head wrapped around it, and it is VR technology. But there is potential, especially in education and in CAD design, for this to be beneficial. The Z-Space has a few tech demo apps, and they are pushing hard towards like STEM, because in theory, you can hook this up to like a larger display also, so the instructor can use it. They can help them to like rotate or show a model, especially in like medical.
Would it pair with like other stuff like HoloLens?
That I've not seen anything
HoloLens
like that.
is like kind of a different, it's an augmented reality technology.
Right.
Yeah. And even then, it's kind of slipped away. You hear a lot about Vive and Oculus.
Horse hockey. Whoa.
Microsoft HoloLens hasn't slipped away.
I'm talking in like out of my viewpoint, in the spaces that I occupy, the gamer space, the general buzz and ebb and flow of the community at large. I don't really keep track of the news very often. I don't really keep track of official press release statements or product statements. I keep track of what people are talking about. And people are not talking about HoloLens. They're talking about Oculus and Vive.
Because those are the things in the gamer space. The HoloLens is not for the gamer space. It is an augmented reality. They are staying very tight-lipped about it because they don't want this hyped up like what's happening with the HTC Vive. Mm-hmm. And, then
the novelty wears off, and all of a sudden you have like 50% of your product distribution returned.
Right.
Yeah.
And they are doing something totally different. There are developer kits out there right now. They've talked about the processor here recently. They released the specs on the processor. It's basically a 24-core processor. The Microsoft HoloLens is something that's out there. It is going to be in a much more professional environment. How much were like the developer kits for these things? Like $5,000 for a... somewhere.
I suppose.
No, yeah, 5.
Yeah, it was like $5,000. It was like $5,000.
It was about $5,000 for.
So, well, they at least they marketed it a lot better than Google did with Google Glass.
Well,
which is like this sort of beta testing program where you signed up for them to give you the opportunity to buy it for $2,000.
Right. That was. I was like, wait. So I have the opportunity to buy it.
No. Yeah. The only thing that for the ZVR, going back to that, the only thing that I can see that might be an initial detraction for people who would want to get into it, and this is if it's really important to you, is the contrast ratio. You lose about 2/3 of the contrast ratio switching from 2D to 3D.
You can't tell, really.
Well, functionally, yeah, it would be something. It was one of those nuances, like audiophiles say they can hear crisper, cleaner audio. This is sort of a photographer kind of thing. You need to have a practiced eye to even notice a difference.
But the thing is all of a sudden you're viewing it in a 3D space versus a 2D space, and so losing the contrast ratio is not really the issue.
You just don't really see it.
The mind wrench of looking at a 2D object, a flat surface object, even if it's a 3D model on it, and all of a sudden it's popping out at you, that's the part that takes some time for adjustment.
So does it actually look like it's coming out of the screen, or does it look like you're viewing something like you could reach through the screen, all Willy Wonka TV style?
Both. Basically, think of the screen as like the display area, and it really does look like it's coming out, and there's some that's a little bit deeper. But the thing is...
So that becomes the center point.
It becomes the center point.
Okay.
I guess none of these would be useful to me because I can't see 3D that well. So it'd just
I was sitting there thinking like hentai games, but that's another discussion.
Wow, that's another discussion.
Really?
Well, I think we will stop there.
Yeah, we'll stop right there.
We're going to stop right there.
I do have one bit because, once again, we've done it for 6 shows in a row. We do have to keep up to date on these kinds of things. I do want to read part of a statement that the developers have made on their website about No Man's Sky.
Okay.
This is just our No Man's Sky check-in. It's going to take 2 minutes. The one thing I did want to read that is probably the best possible statement you can make at this point in time is what matters now, as always, is what we do rather than what we say. We are developers, and our focus is first on resolving any issues people have with the game as it is, then on future free updates which will improve, expand, and build on the No Man's Sky universe. The fact that they're at least making that statement means that they're at least digging themselves deeper, if not trying to resolve the situation. And while No Man's Sky is still seeing plenty of refunds given, plenty of people still pissed off at it, I do still think that it's a game that's worth keeping an eye on and at least still trying to give it a chance, regardless of what they say or what they try to do. Because I think at this point, hopefully they've managed to try and shut up Sean Murray.
Hopefully a little. This still sounds like a little bit political, what they're saying. Yeah. I mean, because even in there, they're talking about patches and free updates and everything like that, but they're not talking DLC, so there's still a mixed message. And even their patch notes, because they said we've released patch notes. No, those patch notes are vague. They don't really go into like a lot of specifics. Some parts of it do, but it's like we've fixed 80% of the issues with but they don't list out which processors or graphics cards. Yes, I have.
Since this?
Yeah.
Since this? No, but I've looked at the previous patch notes. This is very, very recent. I'm going to be very skeptical to a point. But at the same point, if there's still a success, I still say it's a good game.
Yeah, even if they have lost a significant amount of their initial player adoption rate.
Not really. They're actually, the sales are going up. The sales are still going up on this game. The refunds are not as bad as it sounds, as everybody wants to talk about. There's only about 3 to 5% have been potentially getting refunds, and the amount of people buying it is still continuing to go up. And I think Valve has started to clamp down on the full refund policy of the game this week too.
That makes sense. Like, give people an opportunity, at least even a small opportunity to get their money back, but don't make it that people can take advantage of that opportunity.
Right.
And so at this point, I will say, once again, I am not going to be asking for a refund for No Man's Sky. I still do go back and play it. I still do treat it as one of those Zen games, which is just there to kind of take up time when I don't have time to play some really deep, rich, story-heavy game or something that involves a lot of investment. I can load up No Man's Sky, play it for 5 minutes, and then if something else comes up, I can close No Man's Sky and not lose a lot of progress.
Casual.
Yes, very casual.
Yes.
Okay.
So I do think that it's doing really good, and that's all I really have to say today.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to end it there. Again, this has been the GACC podcast, and where we talked about games, anime, computers, collectibles. I think we didn't get to anime this week.
No, not this time. I didn't get a chance to do my anime rants.
But
blame this guy.
Yeah. Well, we'll pick up. You can do twice as much next week.
Right.
That. Yeah.
So we typically try to get this out in audio format by Sunday afternoon. You can find it at our website, www.jennyfedora.com. Underneath the GACCast, you'll be able to find them there. We do, from there, it proliferates out to...
We do distribute through both iTunes and Google Play. Search for GACC, GACC on either, and it should pop up just easy. Just look for the red and orange donkey Jenny Fedora there, and that'll be us.
Right.
Yeah. And of course, rate and review there if you do get a chance. Indeed. That'd be appreciated.
Yep. And then typically we try to get out sometime Sunday. Usually later in the evening the video version of this podcast, so you can find it at our YouTube channel. We do have a vanity URL, so you can find us by going to Jenny Fedora Reviews, and you'll find the GACC podcast up there in video format for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Typically by Monday.
Yeah, and so you can go ahead, like, subscribe, comment, And folks, if you're watching this, if there's anything you want us to talk about, whether it's either on the GACC podcast or if there's some sort of technology you want us to actually talk about and go into in depth, let us know in the comments. We appreciate your viewing.
We view all of the comments. All of us read the comments.
Yes.
So, yeah, we'd like to hear from you.
Let us know what you think.
All right. Thanks for joining us, folks.
Thank you.
Blizzard World of Warcraft had a generally drop off, spike like this. GTX 970 customers, you are going to be getting a settlement sometime in the near future.